Hi, this is Brett Ingram, entrepreneur and award-winning product creator. And today, I want to share with you 9 free online tools for editing photos and images. The online world is full of multimedia now. So if we're doing anything online and we want results, then ultimately we need to be using photos and images, and probably video too. But let's talk for right now a little bit more about images. Whether we have a blog or social media accounts or whatever we're doing, we need visual content to get attention, views, clicks, and shares. And even if you're I'm not focused on views and clicks and shares, the fact is, if we're making any kind of content, right, we might not be driven solely by numbers, but the fact is, why are we posting or making content? Because we want people to engage with us. So if we want people to engage with us, we need to use what people are using to engage, and that is visual content. I think video now drives 90% of internet traffic. Images, it's something like 95% more attention and clicks and shares and likes than any kind of content without images. So it's sort of inseparable that if we're trying to do anything in the online world, there's no question that we need visual content. And we ultimately need lots of it because we need to be, in order to stay relevant and in order to stay on top of everything and stay connected with people, we need to be creating content. We need to be adding that stuff online, and we need to be doing that as often as we can. So we need a lot of visual content, and we need it over and over and over again, day after day after day, week after week. Now, sometimes we need to actually find the photos or images, right? We might say, well, I'm going to make this post, or I'm doing this blog and I need an image that sort of matches what I'm doing. So sometimes we actually need the content itself, the visual content, whether it's photos or images or whatever. And other times we need to edit them. So we might have a raw photo or a raw image, or we might be able to get one, but then we do need to make some edits to it in order to make it useful for what we're trying to do, whether it's change the size or, a variety of other things. Now, trying to figure out how to do all that stuff myself, I found some online tools which are pretty awesome for all of our visual content needs. I had a variety of different things. Like, for one thing, I was creating a software app, and one of the software apps that I made was something that had a visual design element to it, where there were templates included, and the user could go in, sort of like Canva, and they could go in and they could edit various elements on the canvas, and they could create visuals and graphics and things like that and post them on social media. But in order to do that, I needed a massive visual library. So in addition to the actual templates that I had created, I had to find a bunch of content. I needed cut out photos with transparent backgrounds so they could put them on them. I needed, artwork and illustrated things. I needed backgrounds. I needed all of these different things. And the problem is, because I needed a lot of content, I also needed to edit them in certain ways. I needed different file formats. I needed, resized photos where they're, when you start getting content, it's all different sizes. They're all different formats. I needed to be able to make all of that stuff uniform. And then I also needed to be able to make some other edits to the things as well. And I also needed to rename them, resize them, and a variety of other edits. So it was a lot of work. And to try to do that stuff manually or to use Photoshop, forget it. I mean, you got to write macros and do all this other kind of stuff. So out of necessity, I started to look around and I said, well, there's got to be tools to automate this. There's got to be a way that I can do this faster and easier. I'm not going to go on Shutterstock and pay $25 an image and still not have the rights to be able to allow other people to use it. It's just way too prohibitively expensive. And I'm also, not going to manually go in and rename each of these files and then resize them and then optimize and do all this other stuff. There's just no way. So I had to find shortcuts. I had to find ways to do it, and I'm happy to share with you that I did. And I'm going to share all those tools with you to hopefully make your life a little bit easier. So There are a few tools that I'm going to share with you, and they all have at least a free version. So there may be paid tools that are better. There may be paid versions of some of these tools. So some of them have limits the amount that you can do at one time. And if you want not, you need to upgrade. I'll tell you straight up, I pretty much only use the free versions. If there's a restriction on you can only do 20 at a time, I'll do 20, wait 5 minutes, and then you do 20. Like, I don't worry about it. It's not that I don't want to buy the upgrade, it's just that I won't use it that much. So for me, I use just the free version, and I use this stuff a lot. So if that gives you any idea, for the most part, unless you're like a crazy content person, you're probably going to be fine with just the free versions of these. And if they're not totally free, they might have an upgrade, but you could certainly start with them for free. And I also recommend that if you're ever trying to do anything online, whether it's with photos and images or otherwise, and you don't have a solution for it, just search for it. Just search for it, please. This is what I did, okay? So I had a batch of probably, I think the first batch was like 500 images. And I needed to, first of all, I needed to remove the backgrounds. So I ended up finding this tool online, and I had to pay all this money. And it was still a manual process where you had to click around it, and then it would remove the background. And I smack myself in the head now thinking about that, because I found a tool that replaces it and does it all automatically, and it's free. So I can't believe I wasted all that time. Worse, then I needed to resize some images, and I had to go in and do them one by one in Photoshop. I didn't know what I was doing, and I found this one tool online, but it only did one image at a time. So I literally spent hours resizing images. What a complete waste of time. And then to change sort of like the aspect ratio or the functions and feature. I mean, it's insane what I did and how much work I did and how much money I spent. And all I would have needed to do is do a little bit more digging. Instead of like the answer that was right at my fingertips, but that was labor intensive and expensive, I should have just done a little bit more research and spent 20 minutes online, and I could have found everything I needed. So hopefully that's a lesson that, you don't make the mistake that I made. So you can Google it or whatever if there's anything, but you'll be surprised at what a little digging can uncover sometimes. And you're about to learn a bunch of things that a little digging uncovered for me. So first off, out of the gate, if you need images and photos, if you need content to begin with, I don't have any content, I need content, where do I get it? There are 3 sites that you can go to, and there are probably more than this, but there are 3 sites that are absolutely free and they're royalty free. So you can download and use those photos and images wherever you like. So the first one is Pixabay. It's Pixabay.com. And Pixabay.com is cool because you can do a search by keyword. It will pull up all these photos, but it also has artwork and images and illustrations. And you can do searches by that as well. So if you are clever and you use a little bit of the filtering features, you can actually filter for transparent backgrounds. So you can find images that are already transparent. They don't have a great selection for that, but they're on there. You can find lots of different things. So I've been able to find like artwork content, like bullets and buttons and shapes and stuff like that. And I've also been able to find lots of photos for anything that I've needed. So Pixabay.com is a good resource. Another one is Pexels.com, Pexels.com. And what I like about Pexels is that it actually has a lot more vertical content. So if you're doing stories, if you're doing things on social media where you need sort of that vertical content as opposed to the horizontal wide content, Pexels is great because you can also search by that. So you can search by the orientation of the image, whether or not you want it vertical or horizontal or square. You can search by, content, obviously. And again, it pulls them up. I believe for both of these sites, you need to sign up, but it's free. And then you can download unlimited if you sign up. If you don't sign up, you can download, but then it like asks you a CAPTCHA each time. So it's kind of annoying. So it doesn't hurt to sign up. You sign up for free, and then you can download all you want. And the other thing about both of those, and the third one I'm going to share with you, is they actually also have videos. So I'm not covering videos on this video, but you can get videos there as well that are royalty free. The third one is Unsplash, UNSPLASH.com. And they also have a large host of royalty-free content that you can use. So there's millions and millions and millions of images, photos, graphics, all that kind of stuff on there. So you could certainly find a gigantic wellspring for all the stuff that you'd ever need, certainly for stuff like blog posts and things like that. If you need more specific images and stuff like that, you might need to go outside those sources. But as a general starting point, awesome. So now that we have some images, or maybe you already do, and you're saying, okay, well now what I need to do is I actually need to convert them to another format. What I'm trying to use them in, these are all JPEGs, but I need them to be PNGs, or these are all PNGs and I need them to be GIFs, or whatever it is. There's always a reason to change formats. And I'm not going to get into the technical specs on graphics and images, but they have different image sizes. So when you're using things online, not so much social media, but on a website, you want things that are small in file size so they load really fast. So in general, a JPEG is better than a PNG because a PNG is a lot bigger file size. But it depends, because a JPEG doesn't support transparent background. So if you need something with a transparency, you need to use a PNG or a GIF. And so again, you can Google all the differences between the image formats, but suffice it to say, if you need to convert from one format to another, you can use a tool called freeconvert.com. It's just free convert, CONVERT.com, and you can go in there and you can convert any image to any other kind of image. And also there's a host of those other kinds of tools just by doing a search online for convert images to whatever format. So that will allow you to get images and also then convert them to whatever size you want. Now sometimes we need to be able to resize our images. Sometimes we need to make them smaller because they're gigantic. When you start downloading photos from Pixabay and Pexels and things like that, what you'll find is some of them are giant. If you're posting something in an 800 pixel square and your photo is, 3,600 pixels wide, sure, your software might crop that and make it smaller, but the file size that you're uploading is huge. It's going to cause your website to run slower. So you might want to resize it. The other time is you might want to crop. So maybe you have something that's wide and you want to make it a square. Maybe you have something that's vertical, you want to make it a square, or maybe you just want to crop pieces out of a particular visual or image. So you can resize and you can crop visuals in bulk, which is awesome. And this was something I wish I found earlier, because that's a really great way to do things instead of doing them one by one by one, with a tool called bulkresizephotos.com. It's just BULKRESIZEPHOTOS.com. And literally you can drag a whole folder into it and you can resize them by the longest length. So if you have some vertical and some horizontal and you don't want any of the longest length to be more than 800 pixels, you can do that. You could sort them all to the same width, the same height. You could sort them by percent size. You can, so there's a variety of different ways, and you can output them in different formats too. So you can go from JPEG to PNG or PNG to JPEG or whatever. So bulk resize photos, cool tool. I use it all the time. In fact, just yesterday I was resizing a bunch of stuff that I need for a new tool that I'm making, and I love it because it's fast, it's easy. It downloads all the done ones in one zipped up folder for you in one click. So bulk resize photos is a very cool tool. Now, sometimes even though we've got things maybe resized, sometimes we want to trim the blank space. I just ran into this problem also yesterday, ironically, where I had a bunch of images that I had resized and they looked good, but they had tons of blank, like transparent pixels around the outside. So I got a little image in the middle and then I got all these transparent pixels. Well, again, you could use that because it's transparent, but the file size is going to be a lot bigger and it's just unnecessary. So sometimes it's nice just to be able to trim that blank space so the actual image is the size of whatever your content is. And to do that, I actually just found this tool yesterday. I didn't even know it existed. So to trim the blank space around images, this works particularly well with like PNG files. It's app.trimmy.io. So it's app.trimmy.io. optYOUmize.io. Again, super cool. You just drag it up there and it automatically will do it for you and show it to you. And then you can just click go and boom, it will automatically pull that out for you. So it will trim that blank space around the images for you and make all of your images tight to exactly the size and pixels that they're supposed to be. Now, sometimes we find an image and we love it, but we want it as a transparent overlay. For example, when I was making the software tool that I was talking about, one of the things that was really useful to me was to have cutout photos. What I mean by a cutout photo is, say it's an image of a person. The person is there, but everything around them in the background is all transparent. So that way, if I have a background on my canvas, I can put the person right on top of it and it looks like they're right there on the image. It doesn't block out the rest of it. We've all been through this, where we need to be able to remove a background. Now, the tool I used to use, I'm ashamed to say it, I was paying per background removal per photo. And it was cool. It had a lot of extra features, but it was also more manual work. So for really high-end cases, it still made a lot of sense. But I actually found a free tool to replace it, which is automatic, and it's awesome because you drag the image in there and it automatically detects and removes all the transparent pixels, and then boom, you download it in one click. Now you have transparent. So here's a secret little hack that you're going to absolutely love. Let's say that you're trying to find content and you're looking around on Pixabay and Pexels and you're like, oh, this image is great, but I don't want everything in the background. I just want the foreground. You grab the photo from there, then you go over to this tool, plug it in, remove it, boom. You just created out of thin air for free a transparent cutout photo that you can use on whatever you want. The tool is called photoroom.com, photoroom.com. And it's awesome. It's super simple. You just drag your image up into the window and then it automatically removes the background for you. So it works really, really well. I mean, some images are not perfect, but for the most part, it's pretty good and it's free. So again, it's another awesome tool. Now, I'm going to share another little secret with you that I sort of alluded to a little bit. And this is something I just discovered a little while ago. So I was checking website loading speeds, and what I noticed was one of my websites was running a little bit slow by comparison. And in case you don't know or understand why that matters, if you want to get ranked in search engines, if you want free traffic from search engines and you want visitors to stay on your site, it has to load fast, particularly mobile users. If they click on your site and it's loading, they're gone. You get like 3 seconds, and if the site doesn't load, they're gone. So it's super important, and Google will penalize you if your site runs slowly for that reason. They know people don't want to wait. So you need to optimize your site and get it loading fast. Now, there's 100 different ways to do this, so I'm not going to get into all that. But one of the biggest culprits for this is embedded images on the page, right? It's a problem. We need photos, we need images, we need visual content. Yet when we put them on the page, it slows everything down. Well, there's a trick that you can use that will optimize the images to make them sometimes 80 to 90% smaller than what they start at without any loss in quality. It's absolutely amazing. So I found this tool online. It's absolutely free. It's called tinypng, tinypng.com. And it works with JPEGs too. But any image, all you do, and you can do 20 at a batch, you just drag them onto the little panda window. It's a cute little panda on the website. You drag them up into the window, and it automatically resizes, and it shows you exactly how much it saved you in space. And when you look at your source images, and then you can download them all in one shot, when you look at the target images, there's virtually zero difference in quality. So you're getting the exact same quality, but you're getting web optimized images that are awesome. It removes all this superfluous data that's stored in images that you and I never see, but it's in there, and it removes all of that. So that way it's just a tight, concise file. The file sizes are tiny, they're super fast loading. It'll improve the speed of your blog or your website dramatically. So tinypng is an awesome tool, one of my absolute favorites. And then you may also at times want to rename images in bulk. I had to do this because when I was creating categories of images, like cutout photos, backgrounds, stuff like that, I didn't want them all named number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wanted them to be named by what kind of content they were so I could understand what they were. But the problem is if you try to do that through like Windows or like through your computer and you go in, it puts like parentheses around them and a number next to it. I didn't want any of that stuff. So I actually found a tool, and this one's a downloadable, but it's free. It's called Bulk Rename Utility. And it's bulkrenameUtility.co.uk. Okay, so it's bulkrenameutility.co.uk. And that particular tool, when you download it, it lets you search anywhere on your computer. You can find a whole folder and file, and you can rename them any way you want. You could completely rename them. You could add a prefix or a suffix. You could have it number them in sequential order. There's 100 different ways that you can do it. And what's really awesome about it is that it does it all in one shot. So then you're totally done just that fast. And then you don't have to go in and manually make any of the changes. So Bulk Rename Utility is another free tool that I absolutely love and I use all the time. These tools in combination let you get photos and images and edit them for virtually any purpose you need, so you can get all the visual content in whatever format you need, fast, simple, and free. What's better than that? What is better than that? So the takeaway here is we all need photos and images and tons of visual content to get attention and engagement online. Whether we're blogging or posting on social media or creating any type of content, we need visuals to make it work. These 9 free tools give you everything you need to get and optimize all the photos and images you'll ever need.